The Liberty Flames. And with that, everybody, we say hello. My name is Garrett Jones, alongside the former head coach at Texas Tech in Minnesota, Marlene Stolings. Two teams that have not seen each other before, kind of a clash of styles meeting on the floor today in the Barrel Center.
But two traditional powerhouses. We have Coach Carey at Liberty, the winningest coach of all time. And then we've got Gonzaga, who goes to the NCAA tournament nearly every year. This should be a fun, exciting matchup.
No doubt about it. We mentioned this is the first matchup for Liberty against a WCC school, period. These two have not seen each other very often. It'll be very interesting to see how they go toe-to-toe. Gonzaga having a great season thus far. As you get a look at Kerry Green, his 25th season at Liberty, just an institution with this program. They've done some good things under his watch.
Without question, and they're moving into Conference USA this year, and Coach Carey said that he put together his toughest non-conference schedule in his history, and that's saying a lot, having been there for 25 years.
Gonzaga, as Coach mentioned, year after year, they are a force to be reckoned with in the West Coast Conference.
No doubt. You've got Ejim, Kalen Trong, and Maxwell all on the Becky Hammond preseason mid-major player of the year watch list, and it's the first time any program has had 3 players listed on that watch list. So they're extremely talented, a veteran group, whereas Liberty's quite the opposite. They're a very young group.
We are ready for tip. Packed house in the Barrel Center. Glad that you're with us on Black Friday. Kick back, relax, and enjoy some more hoops coming your way on Feast Week. Tip controlled for Liberty, and a great start for Emma Hess. The preseason All-Conference USA player opens the scoring. What a response for Gonzaga on the other end. Get used to that as Kaylee Trong knocks it from outside. 20 seconds in, you got to catch your breath, especially after our morning game this morning. Jordan Hodges running the point for the Flames. Second in the Conference USA preseason poll, as Coach mentioned, transitioning up from the A-Sun. Pass thrown away. That'll be Gonzaga basketball. Early and active on defense are the Bulldogs.
Well, both teams have a lot of scores and the ability to put up some big numbers. So hopefully we'll have an exciting offensive matchup here.
This is Kaylin Trong running the point. Her twin sister Kaylee also on the roster. Going to see those two a lot.
And the Trong sisters are from right here in Houston, so they have a big contingent here at the game cheering them on. It's filled in over there behind the Gonzaga bench. Great to see all the support here for them today.
They sure do. Right up the road at Jersey Village High School. Played 5 years at Gonzaga. Their teammate going to the line. This is Eliza Hollingsworth. Graduate from Melbourne, Australia. Able to tie it up. Gonzaga, the lone blemish on its 2023 season, the loss at Washington State, and that's one that head coach Lisa Fortier thinks that they should have gotten on the road at Pullman.
Yeah, they lose by only 5. Otherwise, they're undefeated here and really battled down to the wire at Washington State.
Hess. That one glance off the rim. An offensive board and it back up and in. Jordan Bailey with her first points. Gonzaga looking to respond. Halfway down and out for Brianna Maxwell. Transfer from Utah. Coach Stolings mentioned 5 scores in double digits for a very balanced offense. Maxwell a big part of it.
No doubt.
Emma Hess of the personal.
And she's second on the team in 3-point attempts with 31, and she's shooting it at 35%. So tough picking up the foul there on that 3-point shot. Three
out of 3 for Maxwell. What a start. Liberty looking to counter. 2-2 in the early non-con for them. And Coach mentioned Coach Green putting together an amazing non-conference schedule. They played at Texas. This is their second trip to the Lone Star State. Out there right on the doorstep for Asia Boone. Trong with her second touch. Twin sisters not on the same page, but Gonzaga able to hold suit. Into the post. First touch for Yvonne Ejim. Clock down to 3. Offensive foul on the Bulldogs. That's a great defensive possession for Liberty.
Indeed, and Garrett, I think the three-point shot's going to be a big deciding factor in this game. You've got Gonzaga averaging 22 takes, and they're shooting it at over 40%. And you have Liberty over 18 takes a game, and they're shooting it at 32%. So both teams really like to shoot the three ball.
Here's Bella Smuda, one of the tallest players you'll see on this floor today, 6'6" in the center of your screen. Rebound for Jordan Bailey. Zach's whistled on the foul. Zach all the way from Spokane. Side of the state there, Washington. Really turned into a basketball powerhouse, of course, what the men have done, but you have to give the women's team a ton of credit.
Yeah, they've been to 14 out of the last 15 NCAA tournaments. What a tradition they have built there at Gonzaga.
A basketball culture, if there ever was one. Jim able to clear it. Gonzaga looking to add to its early lead. Trong for Trong. That's easy. They've been doing that since they were little kids. And a triple for Kaylee. 6 points early for her, the graduate. First season up in Washington was the COVID year. Pick and roll with Bella Smuda, using that size and knocking it in off the glass.
Showing her versatility there. Nice drive from the high post area. You don't see that a lot at her size.
Redshirt junior out of Exton, Pennsylvania. Kaylee Trong will handle the rock almost every trip down for Gonzaga. Foul crashing to the baseline. And 2 off free throws. It's game number 2 of the Betty Chancellor Classic. So glad that you're with us. In case you weren't this morning, we had a thriller between number 20 Louisville and Alabama. The Crimson Tide getting the better of the Cardinals, 78-73. Both these teams were in the building watching the end of that game.
And what a game to start the Classic off with. And congrats to Alabama getting their first win against a top 25 team since 2021.
Trong already filling up the stat sheet. 8 early points. Kaylee's season high, by the way, 13 against Washington State, already encroaching on that. Bodies hit the floor, open 3, Hess. Offensive rebound. That's Hodges missing. Here comes Gonzaga. Little give and go, and the rim not friendly. Whistle on the floor. Hollingsworth had that finger roll attempt. One more look at this play.
Great ball movement and transition, just couldn't finish it off.
Into Ejim, travel. That's what you want to see if you're Liberty. A tough start to them defensively in this game. Certainly no shame in it. Gonzaga, one of the better offensive scoring teams in the country. Sub for Carrie Green. Elizabeth Egas' daughter will make her first appearance. The freshman from Grindavik, Iceland. One of 2 Iceland natives on this roster. Looking for Smuda. Gonzaga able to tip it away. It'll stay with Liberty. Much of the chagrin of, as Coach mentioned, the big contingency of Gonzaga fans who are supporting the Trong sisters.
Yes, I don't anticipate they're going to like anything that doesn't go Gonzaga's way today.
Jordan Hodges will throw it in, running out of time. A violation. Hodges could not get rid of the basketball.
Solid defensive possession there by Gonzaga.
What a start they've had defensively, too. We mentioned the offense putting the clamps on the other end of the floor. Hybens gives it up. Hollingsworth can't hit. Offensive rebound for Stokes. And Emma Hess charged up, drawing the whistle. That's her second in less than 5 minutes into this game. Brooke Moore, another freshman, will sub in. The very young Liberty team going up a veteran-laden Gonzaga roster. So we mentioned kind of a contrast in styles between these two. That's certainly part of it this afternoon.
Definitely, but I like that Coach Kerry Green has gone out and scheduled the games that he has, because it's really going to benefit them going into Conference USA for the first time. It's a big step up for them. A very competitive, tough conference. And this non-conference schedule, I feel like, is going to really serve them well down the road.
Hybens had a couple looks off the offensive board. It'll stay Gonzaga basketball. And to Mont Hybens from Hilversum, Netherlands. That's a splash from deep for Trong. 11 points already for Kaylee. Gonzaga has opened up a 10-point lead. Liberty's still trying to figure out what hit them here early.
Well, no doubt the Trong sisters have a little extra adrenaline and energy here playing in front of their home fans.
Egasdaughter gives it up. Hodges bumped. I'll stop the clock with 5 on the shot clock. 4:33 left to go in this opening quarter. Gonzaga pretty dominant thus far, 16-6 advantage. Thanks to the triple from Trong. We're just getting going here in game number 2 of the Betty. Oh, look into the Gonzaga huddle there. Lisa Fourier, her 10th season, has to be pretty pleased with the start for her group traveling from Spokane. See her overall record. Coach, those numbers just so impressive. She is 5th in the NCAA active coaches among winning percentage.
Yeah, sitting at almost 80%. She's done a tremendous job at Gonzaga and has been able to sustain success there. It started with Kelly Graves, who's now at Oregon, and she has continued to keep the standard very high.
There's a nice response from Egasdaughter, and Liberty back within 7. Saw there Coach Fortier's husband, Craig, and another part of that staff. She was on his left. Runs the family here at Gonzaga. Speaking of which, the Trong sisters looking to get going. Houston natives, in front of a big contingency of support. Kelly Stokes, jarred up. Trong with 1 to shoot. Oh my goodness! How did that go in? Play of the day for Kaylee Trong.
She is on fire. You see the big smile from her coming back down the floor. She can't miss right now.
How about 13 points, which matches her effort in the entire game against Washington State. This could be a career day for her. You mentioned, Coach, all the adrenaline that she has playing in front of her fans. This is no situation that any guard wants to be in. You're dialed up defensively, have to fade away with a hand in your face. Off the glass, no good, and Gonzaga looking to build its lead back up to double digits. Around the horn for Stokes. On Hybens. Offensive foul coming back to Liberty. Von Eacham. Off the floor right now for Gonzaga, back in. Coach Fortier dialing it up. Claudia Asin runs the point for Liberty, the 5'8" freshman from Girona, Spain. That's not the shot they're looking for. It's Ejim boards it. Zags on the run. It's a 2-on-3. Maxwell. Another offensive board for Gonzaga. Maxwell makes good on the second try. One of the big reasons why Coach Gonzaga is finding himself in an advantageous spot is they just grabbed their third offensive rebound in this first quarter.
Yeah, Liberty's got to match the physicality a little bit better, and Liberty's allowing Gonzaga to get back and get their defense set. That's not when Liberty is at their best.
That's the fourth turnover for the Flames, and you said it, Coach, it leads to an and one for Gonzaga.
Yeah, Liberty needs to try to get the pace moving a little bit better in transition and get some easy buckets before Gonzaga gets their defense set.
Kalen Trong back in for Gonzaga. I think you have to give the Bulldogs a lot of credit, too. We mentioned there was a little bit of rust at the start of the Louisville-Alabama game. They've had a bit of a layup, too. Gonzaga has. Long travel. They've looked dialed in here in the first.
No doubt. Very impressed with the start here by Gonzaga. They're locked in defensively. They're not allowing Liberty to do anything, and then they're on fire here offensively.
Emily Howard grabs the rebound. One of two players over 6'5" on this Liberty roster. They have great size. You can see why they're figured to be a contender in Conference USA. And in the lane, that shot won't roll in. Ella Weigel tried her first. Von Hybens gives it up. Kaylin Tron looking to get in the score sheet. It's as simple as that. Another fading three. Mark it a long two, but Kaylin will certainly take it to much fanfare.
What a start for the Twins here in front of their family and friends. How exciting.
13 points for Kaylee, 2 for Kaylin. And a nice runner finds the lane for Hodges.
And Liberty needed that bucket badly.
Maxwell. She is never afraid to shoot. Hybens grabs the big board. Left open. That's a splash. They have shooters all over the floor.
That's what makes Gonzaga so hard to guard. There are multiple players they can go to. They have 5 players averaging in double figures. The versatility and ability to share the ball with their team is as high as anybody.
Asia Boone couldn't get the triple to go. Shot clock and game clock about 2 seconds apart. Gonzaga will wind it all the way down. Kaylin Tron with 6 to shoot. A whistle with 1 on the shot clock. Got to look at our last triple. Everything going the way of the Bulldogs thus far.
Yeah, Liberty bailed them out a little bit there. Thought they were playing good defense. They took away the first option, which was Ejim down low. Really good defensive possession there. The clock's about to run out and just kind of bailed them out there right at the end.
Esther Little, sophomore guard, is subbed in. Here's Callie Stokes on the free throw line. West Coast Conference all-freshman team, a big part of Elisa 48 as built. They have so much depth. It's a big reason why they've already put up 28 points here in the first quarter. 2 to work with for Hodges. Boone couldn't get that one to go. That's emblematic of the first for Liberty. Gonzaga coming out with a blitz. All Bulldogs thus far in the Barrow Center. They lead by a comfortable 17-point margin thanks to triples like that one from the Trong sisters. Right back with the second. Started the second quarter outside of Houston. Happy Black Friday to you. Garrett Jones and the former 9-year coaching veteran Arlene Stollings with you. And Coach, after one, Gonzaga with a 17-point spread. You mentioned you saw them yesterday at practice. You knew that this was a hot shooting unit.
Well, the first thing I thought is I could play for Coach Fortier. I love offense. I love scoring. And they didn't even put their bags down good. Within 30 seconds of them walking onto the court, they were immediately put into shooting drills. And this went on for the first 30 minutes of practice. That's my kind of practice. But they certainly value scoring. And it showed yesterday at their practice by how much time they spent early on in shooting drills.
Yeah, you know a thing or two about scoring. All-time leading scorer in the state of Ohio. Your playing days. Jordan Hodges carves it out. It's already a 19-point hole for Liberty. A very young team that's struggling to get its footing against one of the best in the country. And they do draw a whistle. We spoke with Kerry Green earlier this week, and he said, we've got a very young unit, and unfortunately we're a little behind where we would like to be at this point in the year. Kind of had a funny line. He said, I wish we had some magic pixie dust that we could just sprinkle on top of our young players to where they would know how to make those veteran-type plays, but unfortunately they're just not quite there yet. And this is a real baptism by fire this afternoon against a very good Gonzaga team. Shot's just not falling, as you see. Liberty under 35% from the field. Trong can't make a pay. That's out of bounds off of Liberty. Even the loose balls right now bouncing in Gonzaga's favor. Mott Heibitz. Under 9 minutes left to play before the break. That's a three, and it won't fall, but an offensive rebound for Gonzaga. Wow. A bucket plus the foul. Hollingsworth able to trickle it in. As you get one more look. What a find there by Trong at the last possible second.
Great court vision there by Trong to find her at the basket.
There's a reason Kaylin Trong is top 20 in the NCAA in assists. 18th coming into this tournament in assists per game. Free throw makes it a 22-point spread. Hodges gives it up. Fourth turnover of the day for Liberty. And it leads to points for Gonzaga. That's Esther Little tucking it in, and Kerry Green needs a timeout. Gonzaga sensing blood in the water, and the Bulldogs are pouncing. A 24-point lead, mainly thanks to turnovers leading to offense. 35-11 with 8:35 left. A look at the Merrill Center here in Katy, Texas. About 30 minutes, give or take, from the heart of Houston. As you see Coach Kerry Green trying to inspire his group to get back in this thing. 25 years at Liberty. He has carved out an incredible career. Took this team to the 2005 Sweet 16. And Coach, you know his style. As you see a turnover, and it leads to a triple. And another offensive rebound for Gonzaga. And I'll come back with Liberty as Hollingsworth stepped out of bounds. By the way, Coach Green 2-2 all-time against Coach Stollings. You guys matched up a couple times at Winthrop in the ASUN days.
Yes, I remember my very first year as a head coach was at Winthrop, and at that time Liberty was in the same conference, the ASUN. And we battled it out by learning very quickly how good Coach Kerry is and how polished his teams become throughout the year. And they'll get better. He's great at player development, and he'll bring this group along. They're just, as we said earlier, very young, and there's a lot of time left in this game. They've got to continue to battle here and fight. Control the things they can control. One thing is rebounding. Gonzaga is killing them on the boards right now, 10-2. Those are some things that they can control to kind of help them continue to fight in this game.
Bella Smuda trying to get going. 2 offensive boards, and she's fouled on her 3rd attempt. That's a great point by you, Coach. There's still a ton of time left in this game. There's no such thing as garbage time, especially not when you have a game in the 2nd quarter.
Well, and it doesn't get easier for either of these 2 teams in this tournament. They both face Louisville and Alabama over the next couple of days here, respectively. So it continues to get tougher and tougher as you go.
Smuda, a big-time recruit for Liberty, her 3rd season. I was talking with Coach Green earlier this week, and he said, no, I don't know how it worked out that we got put on the Louisville-Alabama side of the bracket, but as you said, between games, there is no easy bracket in this tournament. The Betty Chancellor Classic and the Van Chancellor Classic. Evening games will be part of the Van Chancellor Classic. We have Clemson and Mississippi State, along with Tulsa and Arkansas Pine Bluff coming your way. Backdoor, that won't work. A second try trickles home. There's Hollingsworth.
And there again, you would just like to see Liberty battling a little bit more. That was way too easy for Gonzaga.
Zag 67% from the field. Swiped away by Maud Hybens. There's the Trong sisters out of Jersey Village High School. Less than 25 minutes away from where we're playing today. Everything bouncing Gonzaga's way. That's a 3 for Hollingsworth.
I tell you what a great luxury to have for Gonzaga to be able to catch and shoot a 3 at her size is something you don't see often. She shot that like a 5'8" guard. Quick release, great footwork.
Bulldogs 6 out of 8 from distance thus far. That's something that Liberty needs. Emma Hess, the preseason All-Conference USA pick, into the score sheet. Ibens tipped away from Hodges. That's kind of microcosm for the way things have gone for Liberty. Hodges in the lane, saw that one roll off her fingers. Strong to throw it in. West Coast Conference Player of the Year last season. Can't get the roll. There comes Jordan Hodges. Claudia Ossin. There's back-to-back buckets for Liberty. They're just looking for any kind of momentum. That one trickles out and Smuda grabs the board. Flames starting to clean it up here in the latter stages of the 2nd quarter. Hess finds Smuda. There's 6 straight for the Flames. Coach Fortier not messing around. There's a timeout on the floor.
3 good possessions in a row there for Liberty. It's got to make them feel a little bit better. And
yeah, you don't blame Coach Fortier taking that timeout because, number 1, you've got him in your back pocket. But 2, a few more possessions like that, you look up, it's going to be a 10-point game if you're not careful.
Right. Liberty can get right back in pretty quickly. I like this timeout by Coach Fortier. And, you know, sometimes it's hard to play with such a big lead early. So you have to stay after them, keep them fired up. They can relax a little bit, and you don't want that.
So look at the little screen and roll. Hess finding Smuda. We mentioned her great size. 6'6". Coach Green maybe looking to get the ball to her more as we progress. This is a big stage for this program, too. We mentioned the growth that they have. They have a beautiful new facility in Lynchburg, Virginia. Coach Green said, we have every opportunity to be a contender year in and year out in Conference USA. Have an undefeated football team. The men's basketball program has done some good things there in recent years, making the NCAA tournament. This group has not found that stage since 2018. There's just a whistle away from the basketball. Strong will have another throw in. Gonzaga's coach set up a little earlier. 14 out of 15 last NCAA tournaments. Hollingsworth, no. Foul on Callie Stokes. Loose pace of play thus far. That's only number 3 on Gonzaga. Emma Hess, 13th program history in points. Nasi. Little jumper rolls on in. That's Jordan Bailey. Suddenly it's an 8-0 burst for the Flames. Still a 21-point lead for Gonzaga. Wow, Hollingsworth woke up feeling a little bit dangerous. Another jumper from distance. She has 13. Hess trying to counter. That's not the shot they need right now. With 5 left to play before the break. First touch of the day for Claire O'Connor goes begging. And a wholesale change for Coach Fortier.
Yes, the train does not slow down. They can sub 3 and 4 at a time, and there's not much of a drop off. In fact, there's a step up at times, depending on the combinations.
Throw it into O'Connor.
She was so open, I think she was surprised.
She didn't know the ball was coming to her there off the inbound.
Trong's such an excellent passer with great court vision. Saw her before she even knew she was open.
Hess gives it up. Smuda can't get the roll. O'Connor Fields, freshman guard out of Lakeside, Washington. Around the horn. Maxwell, no. Hybens, no. Foul by Smuda.
It's another example where you just see a little bit of difference in physicality, and a lot of that is contributing as a result of Liberty's youth. Gonzaga just outmuscles at the basket there to go get that rebound. And Liberty, again, as they get more mature here, more player development, they'll get a lot tougher and be able to hold that box out and get that rebound.
Hybens, the transfer from Syracuse. All the way from the Netherlands. One of the few internationals on this roster. They recruit all over the world. Coach Fortier does. 25-point affair of the Lone Star State. Game number 2 of the Betty Chancellor Classic. Hodges, ring it up. Liberty knocks one down from outside, just their second of the day.
And that's when Liberty's at their best. Hopefully they can get some more action going with some penetration kickouts for threes or threes in transition.
Kaylee Trong gets it to go. What a great first half for her. 17 big points.
Have yourself a day, young lady.
What's a second half going to hold if this is the first? Hodges. Offensive rebound. That's E.S. Donner pulling it away. Hess and one. Liberty needed that. Emma Hess will go to the line.
Yes, and Emma needed that. She's their leading scorer, one of the best three-point shooters in the country. They really need her to get going here and help lead them.
Top returning scorer for the Flames. Emily Howard subs back in, another piece that they're expecting big things out of this season. One-point spread, 3 minutes left before the end of the first half. Screen from Hybens. Tronk's sister's going to work. The finger roll denied. And a whistle on the Flames. Tronk missed 23 games last year with an injury. Has bounced back in a big way here in 2023. Now we have a timeout on the floor. 2:50 left before the end of the second. Gonzaga incomplete, control by 21. And what has been a brilliant first half. Traveling down from Spokane. Coach, what is it that Gonzaga's done the best in this first half?
Well, I think it's what haven't they done? Everything's going the right way for the Zags here. And, you know, credit to them and their staff coming in here over holiday break, coming all the way from Spokane, and they're ready to go. And I think a lot of that has to do with their veteran team. And credit to the staff for having the tenure of these young ladies. They could have gotten in the portal. They could have gone somewhere else for a senior year, but they said, no, we really enjoy each other. We enjoy being at Gonzaga, and we want to come back another year and really try to exceed what they did last year.
They have won the West Coast Conference all but 2 years under the guidance of Coach Fortier. 10 seasons for her at the helm. And they've hit the half-century mark here with 2:48 left before the break. Hess. Rebound for Howard. Bodies tie up. It'll stay with Liberty thanks to the possession arrow.
You know, and if you're Liberty, you go into halftime here, you got to talk about fighting and competing. I think a little bit more. There are some things under their control that I feel they can do better. Handling physicality is one of them. Being able to rebound better, things of that nature. You can control all of those things. And, you know, little things like that start leading to bigger things. But they've got to fight a little harder with the intangibles in this game.
Well, I can't feed it in off the inbound. There's a swipe for Trong. Extra pass off the hands of Eliza Hollingsworth. A rare mistake there for Gonzaga.
What a great look by Kaylee Trong there.
Great and willing passer. That's only turnover number 4 of the day for Gonzaga. There's a three. That's Brooke Moore. A loose ball foul. Stay right there. Number 5 on Gonzaga. And Hess back to the strike.
Another thing with Liberty is, you know, you're not going to get it all back at once. They need to look at increments, like you said earlier. Chip away at the lead. If you can get it to 10, then you're in a game again. And, you know, they're getting close to that at times, but not quite over the hump.
Hess, a very good foul line shooter.
And if you're Gonzaga, don't take the foot off the gas. You don't want to relax. You don't want to get too lax playing with a big lead like this. And I don't anticipate that from such a veteran squad.
Now, you mentioned the veteran poise. Several graduates on this roster. It's really easy for Hollingsworth. Coach Green will want more of his defense on that play.
I really like her game. I mean, she's versatile. She can go inside, outside, and shoots the ball so well. You can do a lot with that with her size.
That's a finish for Emily Howard. 6'5" Canadian out of Vancouver. About 34 combined points between Trong and Hollingsworth. It'll look easy today thus far. Trong in the lane. Hollingsworth denied by the 10. And the rebound to Howard. Here's Brooke Moore, another one of these talented true freshmen that Coach Green is hoping to build a program out of. Oh, that's play. Elizabeth Egestar. Able to save it for Liberty in the final 49 seconds. Austin will toss it in. Moore. Missed completely. And Gonzaga will get another possession in the final 39 seconds of this first half. Game number 2 of the Betty Chancellor Classic. Merrill Center and Katy. This facility hosted several Southland Conference tournaments, the men and women's side over the years.
And what a great venue for women's basketball. It's a perfect size arena. We'll expect it to fill it more and more over the weekend. There are a lot of high school activities going on today and tomorrow in the region, but we think by Sunday it's going to be a pretty full house in here.
Strong. Book it. Her first shot from distance, 55 on the scoreboard for the Zags.
As she blows a kiss to her family and friends over behind the Gonzaga bench. What a start for the Trong sisters here at home in their return back home.
Higa's daughter can't hit. What a first half for the Bulldogs. A 24-point advantage going into the locker room. Your thoughts on this first half, Coach?
Well, again, just unbelievable start for Gonzaga. Everything they were doing was right, and Liberty's going to have to battle back here quickly to try to make it competitive going into the second half.
What a great effort from Coach Lisa Fortier's group. Highlights aplenty. They've been able to work it inside and work it outside. They have a 24-point cushion headed into the third quarter. Back with you momentarily from Katie. First half, they outpaced Liberty by 24 points, but you play 4 quarters for a reason. We're just getting started in the Betty Chancellor Classic. Stick with us in this 24-point game. Was all Gonzaga in that first half, mainly thanks to the play of the Trong sisters and coach. They have been doing some fantastic things from distance, 8 out of 13 from outside.
Yes, and I'm so happy for them. There's nothing like coming back home. They live very far away. Coming back home and having such an incredible start and performance here in front of their family and friends, and the big contingent of Gonzaga fans that have come out here to support them. So really happy for them.
Hollingsworth has been fantastic, Eliza, as you see there off the feed. And then getting involved in the scores table as well off the offensive board. I mean, just everything has gone Gonzaga's way. Liberty, no quitting them, though. Emma Hess off the glass there with a nice finish. They just haven't had quite enough to stabilize and keep Gonzaga at bay. Mentioned a 24-point margin at the break, mainly thanks to the outside shooting from the Zags. They have come from Spokane and just been fantastic here in Katy. A couple of triples trying to keep Liberty at arm's length at least. And Coach, we take a look at these first half stats. What stand out?
Well, you look at the three-point line right away. That jumps out at me. And of course, Gonzaga leading and rebounding, but three-point shooting has been a big difference in the game. 8 of 13 for the Zags. Big difference in the game here so far. And you mentioned Hollingsworth. She is so smooth at her size to be able to go inside and out. What a luxury for Gonzaga to have.
Here's a look at Kaylee Trong, the graduate student. Just a clinical first half for her. Take a look at some of those numbers. She has not missed a beat. Hasn't missed a field goal either. Just 18 minutes. She's sent to throw in.
She's 100% all the way across that line.
Perfect game alert. You'll say as a coach, though, there's never been a perfect game played in basketball history.
Well, not quite like a no-hitter in baseball.
Right.
But so far, she's looking pretty good.
It's such an interesting dynamic because you've got the defensive side as well to evaluate. Trong sisters looking strong here as we get the third quarter started from the Merrill Center in Katy, Texas. It's Kaylin Trong able to draw the whistle. Top 11 in the NCAA in three-point percentage. Great job keeping the offense all together. Actually, I had a chance to talk to Tamara Collier, who was the high school coach of both Trong sisters earlier this week, and she said they were amazing ladies, both on and off the floor. As you can imagine, a dream to coach. And she just said, I felt privileged that I got to coach both of them. There's a triple off the offensive rebound. And Gonzaga continues to pull away. That's a three from Brianna Maxwell.
Now, I can imagine what a treat to coach the Trong sisters, and they're loyal young women as well. You know, like I said, staying at Gonzaga when they could have jumped into the portal speaks a lot to them as people as well, and finishing what they started at Gonzaga.
In the corner, that's Jordan Bailey missing from three. Okay, Lynn Trong pilots the offense. For Ejim, that's out of bounds. And we'll stay with the Zags. 4-1 record. Those clad in red today. They had just their lone blemish against Washington State. That's a really good Cougars team, though. They're top 25. Ejim falls away. And now a 30-point cushion.
Well, and as you said, they go to Washington State and only lose by 5. I fully anticipate Gonzaga entering the top 25 relatively soon here in the season. They're extremely talented and deserving of entering the top 25 soon.
Asia Boone connects. Liberty needs a little bit more of that as they continue to try to clip back in it. They'll mark it as just a 2. There's the 3. Brianna Maxwell again. Gonzaga lethal from outside.
Doing what she does best, and that's just too clean of a look for her. She knocks that down the majority of the time.
Bulldogs not easing off the gas. They're outscoring Liberty 9-2 in this third already. Hess on Trong. The whistle on Kaylin. Jordan Hodges on your screen. Toss it in. Hess with the give and go and a nice touch to Bella Smuda.
Oh, a little miscommunication there by Liberty. Point guard drives in, nobody gets back. That just can't happen after a made bucket.
Yeah, some of the best looking offense they had on the floor on the other end, and then you mentioned it, just a breakdown defensively. Smuda tied up and able to get the whistle. Eliza Hollingsworth taxed with the latest foul. Liberty in its first season in the Conference USA after a very successful run through the Atlantic Sun. Smuda gets a friendly roll on the precipice of becoming the first double-digit scorer today for Liberty. Kerry Green has led them the whole way through their time in the A-Sun, and now into this brand new frontier in the Conference USA. They'll be back in Texas for a third time this year when they play at Sam Houston later. Trong no. Down to Smuda. Smuda with 10 points and 5 rebounds. Hess got it from distance. Emma Hess with her first shot from outside today. Ejim. That's a nice touch from the free throw line extended. 17 points for her against Wyoming the last time out.
I really like her game. She's very versatile. She can take you off the dribble. She can go down low and post up. She's got good mid-range game. And she's really quick to the ball on rebounds. Is something I noticed that really stands out in their previous games.
Trong battling for the basketball, and it'll roll out. Coach 48 taking the opportunity to make some changes. Howie Stokes in, along with Juan Heiditz. Liberty has not led in this game at all. Gonzaga right now with a 28-point cushion.
Yes, and we talked about it doesn't get any easier for Liberty. They're going to face a fired-up Louisville team tomorrow, coming off the loss today by Alabama. And they'll finish out Sunday against Alabama, and then they host, they go back home, and in December here, they're going to host Tennessee. So it doesn't get any easier. Again, Coach Green saying that this is their toughest non-conference in program history, all in preparation of joining Conference USA.
Ejim able to swim in. It's a 30-point game. You mentioned non-conference for Liberty, Coach. They played Texas, and they played really well. That's a top 25 team under Vic Schaefer. They lost by just 18 points, but the game was a lot more close than that. From the triple. 3 more. Kaylin encroaching on double figures.
Maybe a little sibling rivalry going on here on who could score the most in front of their home crowd.
Coach Green has called the timeout. 5:10 left to play in the third. It's a 73-40 game. Jim, a big reason why Gonzaga finds itself up 33 points, Coach. 5 out of 5 from the floor for her today.
She's dangerous. Love her versatility. You see it here in the clips. Off the dribble, step back. She can hit that pull-up jumper. She can go by a lot of people one-on-one and then step through there. I mean, she has a lot to her game. I'm really excited to watch her play throughout the tournament here against Louisville and Alabama.
This team is just loaded. I mean, it's just pick your poison for Gonzaga today. We talked about 5 double-digit scores. They have almost lived up to that through 3 quarters. As Smuda can't hit, and unfortunately Liberty is finding out right now in the worst way. Trong.
And there you see Ejim bring the ball down the floor as point. She can do it all.
Senior forward out of Calgary, Alberta. If you haven't caught on to the theme, as we have another timeout on the floor, 4:50 left to play in the third. We'll be back with another break shortly. Well, Lisa Fortier and company not easing off the gas here in the third. That's not how they've made it to the NCAA tournament 14 out of the last 15 seasons. Her group has done some incredible things on both sides of the ball. They're ready to throw it in to Ejim. That's her first miss from the field on the day.
And as you mentioned, Garrett, it's real challenging sometimes as a coach to keep your team motivated and playing strong with such a big lead. But Gonzaga, as you said, they've not let the foot off the gas at all here. And again, a sign of a veteran team.
One more look at the drive from Smuda. Bella will go to the line. She's had a nice day quietly for Liberty. Coach Carrie Green told us that she is going to be such a big part of what they're able to do in Conference USA. There are not many players in that league, Coach, that are going to be able to match her 6'6" height frame.
Without question, she's going to be one of the tallest, if not the tallest players in Conference USA, and really good skill set that's only going to continue to improve. That's
a good league, too. You look at some of the teams that have exited there, some good programs like nearby Rice has dominated that league in recent years. Western Kentucky still around. That'll be a real challenge for Liberty, but certainly they have reason to believe that they can contend this year.
And Middle Tennessee as well. They're
right.
To show you how much the coaches in that league respect them joining, their preseason picked tied for number 2 without having played a game in that conference. So yeah. It speaks to the respect that everyone has for them. Great find right there under the basket.
That's something you can build on for Liberty, too. They have to turn around to play tomorrow. They have to play 2 games in 3 days after this one, of course. So 3-3. It was Asia Boone on the score. It's Brianna Maxwell. Trong. A rare miss. Hess able to grab it. Oh, left it behind. Smuda grabs the miss. Gonzaga can't make her pay. Emma Hess, the rare upperclassman on this roster, somebody that Liberty is going to lean on heavily. Left the finger roll short and then got fouled. Some hard contact there from Trong.
It'll be interesting to see how much Coach Fortier leaves her core group out there with 2 more games to play here in 2 days. She's got the luxury of being able to rest some folks here going into the 4th quarter if she chooses.
Zach will make some changes. Kaylee back in for Kaylin.
Not bad to be able to make that substitution, right?
They'll certainly take that. Hess is out to strike. Liberty today suffering its first free throw miss. They're 9 out of 10 prior to that Hess clank. Emma Hess with a team high 13.
Well, she's going to be big for them throughout the season. Certainly one of the better scorers on their team and leading scorer currently on their team.
Juan Hyben's distributing. Hollingsworth gave it up to Maxwell. They'll stay with Gonzaga. Every loose ball, they are not letting Liberty even have a peek. They're vacuuming up loose balls and setting up inbounds.
They're certainly quicker to the ball, loose balls, rebounds, and they're more physical. Those are 2 things that really have stood out to me throughout the game.
Shade over 2.5 left to go in the 3rd. Hollingsworth with no hesitation. Why would she? Now 3 out of 4 from deep.
Wow. What a tremendous asset for them.
Made 38% of her threes last year, all the way from Melbourne, Australia. Beautiful feed. Heads to Smuda. That's what Liberty wants.
And you see flashes of it, just haven't been able to put it together consecutively.
Oh my goodness.
Right back, you can't leave her open.
Hollingsworth just unconscious. She surpassed a career high. .21 points, the first time she's ventured into that territory in her collegiate career. Step back Hess. Zags on a break, 5 on 4. Hybens turned away by the rim. And he got Stoddard able to grab it. Hodges. And Stoddard keeping it alive. 1:20 left to go in this 3rd frame. Emily Howard back in.
Well, if you're Liberty, you don't want to take real quick shots here. You want to take good shots. Obviously, the lead has grown here to a pretty big deficit for them. You just want to make sure that you're focusing on getting better, moving the ball, getting open shots, not taking contested shots.
6 to shoot. Hess. Rim hasn't been very friendly to Hess either. 4 out of 11 from the field. This is the true freshman Claire O'Connor. Hollingsworth tipped off of Liberty. Terry Green making a couple more changes. Claudia Osteen back in along with Pien Stiebergen. Pardon, Ella Weigel going to step back in. Brooke Moore, you see on your screen. Trong misses on the inbound. Rolls all the way into the backcourt. Esther Little. 5 to shoot. Wouldn't you know it for Gonzaga? Kaylee Trong again. 22 for her. That is the 12th 3 of the day.
I think we can call it the zone for her today. That basket's looking really big every time she shoots.
Stokes steals, and it's now a 40-point game. Gonzaga has outscored Liberty 30-16 in this third period alone. Esther Little called for the bump in the final 12 seconds of this third. Claudia Sim, the under-18 league MVP in Spain, out of Girona. We mentioned Ossine's a freshman, Brooke Moore a freshman, Asia Boone a freshman, Emily Howard a redshirt sophomore, still underclassman. Weigel's a freshman as well, so you sense the theme. There's a lot of youth on this Liberty roster. O'Connor with youth as well. That's the freshman knocking out her first three of her career.
You see the Gonzaga bench, everybody's out there so happy for her. Big smiles. It's nice to see players that don't necessarily get a lot of minutes get in and hit a shot.
Why would you expect anything any different? It's been all Gonzaga all day long. 14 of 24 from distance. We're on to the fourth, and Katie. Well, they've got every reason to talk today. Gonzaga almost doubling up Liberty as we start the fourth quarter. Garrett Jones here with you, alongside the former head coach of Minnesota Texas Tech, Marlene Stallings. See the Trong contingency here. They have really enjoyed this one, and rightfully so. Those two sisters coming in to combine over 30 points. What's been an absolute clinic this afternoon for the Bulldogs out of the West Coast Conference. Liberty, meanwhile, just trying to show some more of what it can do in this fourth. They've had flashes today, as Coach mentioned prior to the break. Not that time as Egypt steals it away. Final 10 minutes here from the Merrill Center in Katy, Texas. Claire O'Connor just knocked down her first career three. Kaylee Trong. Egypt with 8 to shoot. Another three. Another offensive board. Looks like it's off of Liberty. A big partner will come back with the Flames. Offensive glass has been another area where Gonzaga has certainly been strong. The Liberty has grabbed 10 on the day.
Yes, I'm really excited about the Gonzaga-Alabama matchup tomorrow. I think that's going to be a fun one.
And we've still got some great games coming your way today. We got Arkansas Pine Bluff and Tulsa. That's up next. And the nightcap, you were saying, Coach, in the break, you think that might be the best game on the slate this evening in women's college basketball. Number 25, Mississippi State and Clemson. Bulldogs also undefeated.
Absolutely. Another ACC-SEC matchup. And if it's anything remotely close to what we had in that earlier game today of Alabama-Louisville, put your seatbelt on and be ready.
Tip off of Egei's daughter. It'll be 4 to shoot for Gonzaga. And Egypt. Late shot clock. Rebound Hollingsworth as she's fouled.
And Garrett, I'd be really surprised if we see Gonzaga's core group here on the floor more than another minute or so, maybe two. I'd anticipate Coach Fortier getting them out, letting them get some extra rest here going into tomorrow's matchup with Alabama.
This is a great opportunity for Gonzaga to prove itself on a national stage. As Hollingsworth misses the first free throw, you see Coach Fortier there. They have just completely run through the West Coast Conference in recent seasons. 17-1 in that league last year. And they run into a bit of a problem that the men's team does as well, where they'll hold the at-large resume of some of the teams in those leagues up against teams in, say, the SEC or the Big 12, who play great teams night after night. You know, coaching in the Big 12 recently, how much of a gauntlet that is. Gonzaga admittedly has a little bit of a lighter stretch in the West Coast Conference, but there's been some good teams year after year that have found their way to that league.
No question. I think they're forced on the men's side as well to go out and play these really tough non-conference schedules.
Yes.
To help with that, to help compensate a little bit, because truthfully they compete as though they're a Power 5 school, even though they're under that mid-major tag.
this could be a win that ends up helping them at the end of the day. We mentioned Liberty, a very youthful team, but picked second in the Conference USA. If they get even close to that, this might be one that they look back to, trying to boost their seeding resume, as they figure to be very much part of the picture come March. There's a nice look for Emily Howard and Liberty, grabbing the offensive miss.
Well, I think anytime you have a win against Liberty, it's going to be looked upon positively by the NCAA tournament committee come March, because of their success within their conference.
Yeah, very good in the ASA. Now on to the Conference USA. But you mentioned it, playing in these marquee opponents, Gonzaga's never going to hesitate, because that's something that can help them separate. See Kerry Green there, you said his best non-conference schedule ever. They'll host Tennessee in what will be a big game up in Lynchburg. Talked about the brand new arena that they've got there.
Well, and just getting Tennessee to come to their place and play speaks volumes of how Tennessee values that game. They're not only going to play them, but they're going to go into their house and play them. That doesn't happen too often.
You jump foul dribbling.
Where you get a Power 5 school with the caliber of Tennessee going on the road to a Liberty and playing on their home floor. Speaking of upcoming schedules, Gonzaga, when they get finished here, it doesn't slow down for them. They play Stanford, Cal, Arizona State. It just keeps coming for them as well, again in preparation ultimately for March and for conference play as well.
I think about Arizona State, that's a very winnable game for them, but Stanford too will be a supreme test. Cal is another team that's undefeated from that group. .703 left to go in the first games of this tournament for both these schools. Hollingsworth maybe had a few too many seconds to think about that one as she let it fly. Austin with under 7 minutes left to play. Great find and a nice finish by Brooke Moore. 13 points in the season opener, and she's into the scorer's column in the fourth. Kaylin Trong from right here in Houston. No, but she'll go to the line. 9 points for her. She can enter into the double-digit scoring mark along with her sister. Kaylee just getting back to strength. She missed 23 games last year. Sister Kaylin had a great effort as the West Coast Conference Player of the Year. I mentioned that conversation with Coach Collier, their high school coach at Jersey Village. Now it's Cinco Ranch right here in Katy. She said she called them Lynn Curry and Lynn LeBron. Sorry, Lynn Curry and Lee LeBron, just because at the high school level, they really looked like those two players in the NBA when they went up against their competition.
Well, not a bad comparison. Curry and LeBron on your high school team had to be a lot of fun for Coach.
Kevin Strong, too long for Hollingsworth. A turnover for Gonzaga. Interestingly, they've been able to keep the turnovers extremely clean, as you could imagine, with such a big lead. Only 7 on the day for Gonzaga. Any coach will take that to the bank all day long. Juan Hybens is in, as you see on your screen. Heavy international flavor on this roster. As we mentioned, Little out of Ipswich, England. Hybens out of the Netherlands, of course. Hollingsworth from Melbourne, Australia.
Well, how about you have 6'2" Little guarding the point guard step for step down the floor. You don't see that very often.
A whistle away from the ball. Liberty actually has some great size too. We talked about this with Howard, 6'5", and then Smoot is 6'6".
Yes, that's going to serve them well in Conference USA. You know, it's important for Liberty not to get discouraged.
Right.
To bounce right back. There's no time to waste. Like we said, the schedule gets tougher and tougher for them as they go. But they're certainly going to reap the benefits of this, I believe, when conference play starts after Christmas.
The nice thing that we were talking about, too, is all the coaches told us this week, the reason we're here is because we want to give our teams some experience of what it's like to play in a conference tournament. If you lay an egg in a conference tournament, unfortunately for Liberty, like they did today, your season's over. This is a nice flavor of saying, okay, this happened. Let's put it behind us. Let's go back out and play again and simulate what it would be like if we win in our conference tournament.
Absolutely. Get used to the routines, limited warm-ups, quick scout prep. You see another three there by Trong. And this is a great preview of what they will face.
Lynn Trong with 14 points. Trong sisters have combined for 36. An easy takeaway for Esther Little. Trong starting to slow it down. Hybens heaves. Offensive board, Little no. A second effort, no. A third effort for Ejim. 4 offensive rebounds in 1 possession. Make it 5. Trong. Book it. Oh my goodness. Textbook from Gonzaga. Trong now with 17. Trong tied up with Emily Howard. And we have a timeout on the floor. Gonzaga on the precipice of 100 thanks to the Trong sisters combining for nearly 40. After 5 offensive rebounds, this one sets them up 99-51. Well, Gonzaga just looking to put the finishing touches on what's been a dominant performance over Liberty today. And Coach Stallings, as we start to head toward the finish line here, what's been the thing that they've done that's impressed you the most?
Well, I think, number one, continuing to play so hard with such a big lead speaks to their maturity. But I also like how the Trong sisters have played here, coming back home. What a treat for them and their friends and family to see them. They've combined here for 39 points. And Hollingsworth, what a big night for her. She's sitting at 22 points, kind of a coming out big game for her. And I love the versatility she brings to their team.
Steal for Callie Stokes. And Gonzaga resets. They are 16 of 31 from outside today. Hybens puts it on the floor. Offensive rebound for Stokes. And they've hit the century mark. 25 points for Trong. She's 5 of 6 from distance. Doubling the output of Liberty in this game. A 51-point margin. That's a 3 for Liberty. Ella Weigel, a freshman that they're excited about. They've got some young players, Coach. We mentioned Kara Green told us that they're relying heavily on their freshmen. It's a great opportunity for them to get some exposure, get some experience, and learn from this game and simply move on.
Absolutely. They're going to have to continue to grow up really fast because that's the core of their team. That part's not changing, and coaches really challenged them here early on. It's just important to keep the morale up, keep positive, continue to grow, knowing that this is preparing them for what's coming here January, February.
That's a nice stop for them on the defensive end. And Coach Van Chancellor, of course, his wife Betty, the namesake of this tournament, Van, the namesake of the tournament this evening. He always says when you have a game like this, he wants to get a physical copy of the tape. If you're on Liberty sideline, he wants to get a physical copy of the tape, have somebody around him see him, take the tape, throw it in the trash, say, well, look, we're moving on from that one. I think Liberty might take a similar mindset today. Some nice play here late as Ega's daughter able to lay it in. And for Gonzaga on the other side, you really proved to yourself that you are who you thought you were coming into this game. They're playing with a bit of a chip on their shoulder. The narrow loss to Washington State in a game they felt like they should have won. Their only blemish in 2023 thus far. Hollingsworth, no. Offensive rebound. And a throwaway. 35-22 edge on the glass for Gonzaga. Floater in the lane, and they've scored 6. Jaboon. Final 55 seconds. A turnover. Behind the back and a throwaway. Gonzaga can give it up once.
Not sure if they'll get it here, but the Zags are 1 3-pointer away from breaking the all-time record at the school.
Got one coming up 30 minutes after the conclusion of this one. Tulsa and Arkansas Pine Bluff. I might let it fly once more from distance. Going to go for that program record. Walk down to 6. Into the lane, it won't go. Down for Caroline Sherry. And Liberty getting its final run. Sherry foul. What are you excited for in that Tulsa versus Arkansas Pine Bluff game coming up?
Well, Pine Bluff, I'm really interested to see what they look like on this stage. You know, they're coming out of the SWAC. They don't play in this big of a tournament very often. And Coach Dawn Thornton has done a tremendous job there. She's got a contract extension. Took them further than they've ever gone a year ago. And they have a lot of portal kids from Power 5 schools.
They do.
So I'm really interested to see what they look like. And Tulsa with Coach Nelk just getting started here with their season and off to a solid start for them. So I think it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Final 9 seconds on what was a dominant day for Gonzaga. They hit the century mark and throttle Liberty 102-59. Coach, your final thoughts on this game?
Well, I'm very impressed by Gonzaga. Like I said, I'm looking forward to them going against the 2 Power 5 schools here the next couple of days and see what that looks like. But an impressive performance here by the Zags.
Coach Lisa Fortier and the Bulldogs roll. They're again in action against Alabama and Louisville the rest of the weekend. 2 very interesting matchups. Again, complete dominance from Gonzaga. They come up just shy of the program record, knocking down 17 triples. Liberty again in action against Louisville and Alabama as well. For everybody in the truck and our awesome crew, my broadcast partner Marlene Stolings, I'm Garrett Jones saying so long, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. Got more hoops coming your way from the Merrill Center.